Today is Sunday, April 19th, the Living Word. The reading is from Luke 24:13 to 25, the NRSV. Now on that same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem, and talking to each other about all these things that had happened. While they were talking and discussing, Jesus himself came near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him. And he said to them, "What are you discussing with each other while you walk along?" They stood still, looking sad. Then one of them, whose name was Cleophas, answered him, "Are you the only stranger in Jerusalem who does not know these things that have taken place there in these days?" He asked them, "What things?" They replied, "The things about Jesus of Nazareth, who is a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how our chief priests and leaders handed him over to be condemned to death and crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one to redeem Israel. Yes, and besides all this, it is now the third day since these things took place. Moreover, some women of our group astounded us. They were at the tomb early this morning, and when they did not find his body there, they came back and told us that they had indeed seen a vision of angels who said that he was alive. Some of those who were with us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they didn't see him. Then he said to them, "Oh, how foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have declared. Was it not necessary that the Messiah should suffer these things and then enter into his glory?" Then, beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them the things about himself in all the scriptures. As they came near the village to which they were going, he walked ahead as if he were going on. But they urged him strongly, saying, "Stay with us, because it's almost evening and the day is now nearly over." So he went in to stay with them. When he was at the table with him, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he vanished from sight. They said to each other, "Were not our hearts burning within while he was talking to us on the road, while he was opening the scriptures to us?" That same hour, they got up and turned around and returned to Jerusalem, and they found the 11 and their companions gathered together. They were saying, "The Lord has risen indeed, and he's appeared to Simon." Then they told what had happened on the road and how he had made them known by the breaking of the bread. This is a very interesting story. We know virtually nothing about these two unnamed disciples, but even less about what they thought had happened in Jerusalem on Friday. But it seemed as if all of what they were hoping in this new kingdom that was promised to Jesus' followers had died with him, as he himself died on the bloody cross, in full view of the jeering crowds under the blazing hot afternoon. His followers for the last 3 years had just evaporated, going into hiding in a cool upstairs room, cowering and hoping that in a few days they could peek out and see if it was safe to emerge, then to slink out of town to return to their families and act as if the last 3 years had not happened. These two dusty travelers were doing the same thing, going home to hopefully resume their former lives as their hopes and dreams were gradually fading in the blazing sun until another wayfaring stranger asks to join them, then speaks the prophetic words enunciated above. They must have been intrigued by his words, as maybe a small spark from a still burning ember seemed to glow a bit more brightly. But the day was long, and as their dusty walk came to a close on the spur of the moment, they urged him to join them for dinner. At least they probably thought he could continue to entertain them as they shared their dinner before curling up to get much-needed sleep before their dusty journey would continue the next day, bringing their homes and loved ones closer and closer. When dinner was ready and the hosts sat down to share their meal with their somewhat enigmatic but strangely captivating nest, it would have been their custom to break the common loaf and share it with him. But he intervened, reaching out for the still warm loaf to break it into 3 pieces. as the hungry travelers reached out to get their share. It was only in that action where their eyes opened and they recognized who this fellow traveler was. At that moment, Jesus disappeared before their very eyes. It was enough finally for them to finally internalize the words they'd heard him speaking to them all day. When dawn broke, they got off their mats and packed a few strewn about belongings, and when they set out on the road, turned around and started walking back into Jerusalem, for they knew not what after they reunited with the hiding disciples and revealing their strange story. Then they just pass into the unknown. We never find out how their own journey continues. All that they had heard that day on the dusty road was finally entering into fulfillment. The words had become enfleshed in their very bones. As soon as that happened, Jesus had no need to keep on traveling with them. The incarnate word was now theirs to spread, and they were to become the hands and feet and voice of the departed Lord. It seems that for many of us, we have cemented the words and put them on tablets, turned them into creeds where it was mandated we had to believe in that particular creed and recite them every Sunday as the only sign of our faith. They became so important that theological wars have been waged over them, with the loser usually being banished or imprisoned if they were lucky and consigned to be erased from the pages of church history. To me, the funniest one is the 14th century theological conflict between homoousion, same substance, and homoiousion, similar substance, revolved around the nature of Christ, ignited by the Nicene Creed in 325 AD. It was a dispute over whether it was identical to being with God the Father or merely similar, fundamentally defining Christian orthodoxy against Arianism. Homoousion, same substance, was supported by Athanasius. This view asserted that the Son is exactly the same substance being as the Father. It has become the orthodox position, implying Christ is fully divine, co-eternal, and equal to the Father. Homoousion, similar substance, supported by those skeptical of the new terminology. This view argued that the Son is a similar substance to the Father. This position often sought a middle ground, trying to avoid both strict Arianism, different substance, and the belief that the Father and Son were identical, which some feared led to Sabellianism. The difference between the words is a single Greek letter, iota, homoousios versus homoiousios. This led to our common expression that it didn't make one iota of difference. The conflict was more than theological, with emperors favoring Arianism or comparing factions, leading to the exile of leaders like Athanasius. For Arius himself, it did not end well. It is reputed that Arius died suddenly in Constantinople in 336 AD, just after being restored to the church communion by the order of Emperor Constantine. Historical accounts, particularly by Socrates, describe his death as a dramatic, sudden illness involving severe bowel issues and hemorrhage, often interpreted by his contemporaries as divine retribution. Eventually, though, the work of the Cappadocian Fathers, many who held to a similar view, were reconciled with those holding with the same view, accepting the Nicene formula and confirming the Trinity. This controversy was crucial in establishing the mainstream Christian belief in a co-equal Trinity. For me now, this controversy really does not make one iota of difference to me on my own dusty journey of faith, sometimes alone, sometimes sharing the road with total strangers. It seems beyond foolishness. When I get up, I do not practice the current creed while I brush my teeth or as I get ready for the day. I just ask myself, what is mine to do today? As I try to follow the path of Jesus. Some churches and dogmatic people have even condemned me for calling myself an agnostic Christian, even to the point of condemning me to hell. But I just go about my way knowing that spoken words, no matter how entrenched in centuries-old doctrines and punishments, hold no meaning for me. The Hebrew word davar means not only spoken or written word, like the creed, but action taking place today in a living incarnate world where people are hurting, suffering, needing comfort, companionship, shelter, protection, food. That is where you will find me as soon as I brush my teeth. As I kept thinking of these millennia-old dusty travelers, first traveling home, then after breaking the bread, going back to Jerusalem, knowing not how to go, this journey would end, I thought of this song, O Traveler, that will end our time together. Thank you.
I see the sunrise creeping in. Everything changes like the desert wind. Here she comes and then she's gone again. And I'm just a traveler on this earth. Shut my heart behind the pocket of my shirt. I just keep rolling till I'm in dirt, 'cause I'm a traveler. Oh, I'm a traveler. I couldn't tell you, honey, I don't know where I'm going, but I've got to go. 'Cause every turn reveals some of the road, and I'm a traveler. Oh, I'm a traveler. My heart beats rhythm is a lonesome sound, just like the rubber turning on the ground. Always lost and nowhere bound. I'm just a traveler on this earth. Shut my heart behind the pocket of my shirt. I just keep rolling till I'm in dirt, 'cause I'm a traveler. Oh, I'm a traveler. I couldn't tell you, honey, I don't know where I'm going, but I've got to go. 'Cause every turn reveals some of the road, and I'm a traveler. Oh, I'm a traveler. When I'm gone,